Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Maximum Extreme Podcast, the ultimate movie and lifestyle podcast. My name is Bob Stryker.
I'm Juliana.
And today we'll be talking about the amazing Spider-Man. You are listening to the Maximum Extreme Podcast.
Yeah.
So everyone, ladies and gentlemen, we are very privileged today because today we have with us, not Yao, unfortunately, but we have one of Singapore's top bloggers. She's currently in the finals, nominated as one of the best blogs in Singapore 2012. So we are very privileged to have her with us today. So I hope you will all make her feel very welcome. So welcome, Juliana. How are you?
Hello. Thanks for inviting me. By the way, it's best beauty blogs, not like best blogs.
That's fine, but it's still the best. So that's all cool.
Hey, so what are we talking about today?
Today,
Spider-Man.
So yeah, today we're talking about the Amazing Spider-Man, the new remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it, restarting and re-envisioning of Spider-Man.
Right. You do realize I'm a beauty blogger, right? I'm not a movie reviewer.
Yeah, but you know,
I don't know how I'm going to contribute to this.
Being a beauty blogger, it means you are, number one, opinionated. Number two, you have an eye for beauty. So hopefully that means you will be able to give us an alternative angle on the movie.
Okay.
So
As a girl, probably.
Yeah, well, that's good. So, you know, broaden our audience.
Okay.
So we were lucky enough to catch it a couple of nights ago. And we're both recording in Singapore, where it's come out a bit earlier than the US, where it still hasn't come out yet. And yeah, so what were your thoughts? Do you want me to give a brief summary of what people can expect before we go into it?
Sure.
Okay, so just to recap, so Spider-Man is a story about a guy bitten by some crazy spider, which gives him spider powers. And
speaking of this, is really annoying. The new one, like the way he did it was so amusing. Like all the spiders falling on him, and then he didn't move; he just stand there and allow himself to be,
Okay, we should probably say that there's probably going to be spoilers in this discussion, but yeah. So it was a little bit different. Continue. Yeah. So what happened?
No, just all the spiders, just fell on him, right? And then he just stood there, freeze for a while, and then allowed, the spiders crawl over him. I don't think that's a normal reaction. Do you think?
Probably
I
not.
like the first one, the one with Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
But that one was more natural, where you see for the first time he interacts with Mary Jane. And then you see the spider coming down,
It was quite unusual, the whole film. I mean, I guess they wanted to try to make everything different. So this film, everything, they call it the untold story. And my take on that was that it's the untold story because it's a story they made up. And it's not the story, so faithful to what I thought was the original comics. Which I thought the original Maguire one was pretty good at. So instead of having the intro where I think it's in the lab and he gets bitten by this spider,
it's the original, right? You read the comics,
I don't know, I read it ages ago.
Yeah.
I read it ages ago, I think.
Comics, actually.
Oh, that's fine. But he ends up in this room, right, where there's hundreds of spiders. And yeah, they start falling on him.
It wasn't in the comics, this part.
I don't think it was like that. Though
because the only Spider-Man I saw was in this, like, if I'm not wrong, it's Sesame Street.
Sesame Street?
Yeah, where there was Spider-Man, and he was in this room, and he was always in the studio in the room, and he always looks flustered and stuff.
All right.
That's the version I saw.
Which one is that? I've never seen that.
I'll probably go Google it one day and show it to you on YouTube.
All right. Okay. Spider-Man in Sesame Street.
If I'm not wrong, it's Sesame Street, because that's the only children's program I used to watch.
All right, I'll need to try and Google it.
Mm-hmm.
It all starts. Some of it's really similar. Like it starts off in the school. It shows him in the school. He's again a bit of a loser, being bullied, and then there's the potential kind of love interest who isn't Mary Jane.
Yeah, why isn't it Mary Jane? Why is it Gwen? The moment I watched it, I was like, who's Gwen?
Well, apparently, I don't know it so well, but I think initially there wasn't any Mary Jane, and it was Gwen. But clearly it's been set up in such a way that it's going to lead to Mary Jane.
Romeo and Juliet. There wasn't Juliet in the beginning.
Oh, really?
It was someone else.
What do you mean?
I can't remember her name. Something Angelina or something like that. I can't remember her name. Okay, I forgot.
What do you mean?
Yeah, in Romeo and Juliet, Juliet wasn't the first girl that Romeo was in love with. Yeah, it
Okay.
was another girl.
But
So
Juliet
is it
was
the same
always the
thing?
main
Yeah, Juliet was
lead.
with me. So in this case, is it the same thing? Like Mary
Okay.
Jane is the main character, the main Juliet.
I guess so, yeah. That's one way. So, yeah, basically we're introduced to not Maguire, Spider-Man. We're introduced to Eduardo from Facebook as Spider-Man.
Yes.
And it's like being in Facebook, in the social network again, a little bit. So he's in, college, I
Yeah,
think.
he's in college. But then in school, in social network, he was the cool guy, right? You know, he's the
Yeah.
rich guy, he's a cool guy, but this one is the loser. But then, not much of a loser, because he's got the girl from the beginning. If you realize, Gwen has always been checking him out.
Really?
Yeah,
Even from the
I mean, you
beginning?
can tell from a girl's point of view. Like I can see it, like her eyes. Like whenever she looks at him, she
Okay.
looks the gleam in the eye. Mm.
I'm glad I missed the glee in her eye. I mean, that's one of the things about this film. There's, I don't know, I didn't like it. I didn't like the chemistry between him and her. You said there was immediately a look in her eye, but then
Both of them are amateur actors, if I'm not wrong. Emma Stone, she usually stars in smaller budget films, and she's usually not the main lead. She's
Okay.
usually the girlfriend who's dumped, or the girlfriend who dumped someone else. Like the Justin Timberlake one with Mila Kunis. What's that movie called? Something like No Strings Attached.
Friends with Benefits.
Friends with Benefits. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She was the girlfriend who dumped Justin.
Oh, was she? Was she in that?
She was
oh,
the one,
okay.
yeah.
So she has these bit parts. You mean previously?
And also the House Bunny.
Okay,
yeah,
I haven't
she-
seen that.
yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Smaller roles. So this one is probably.
I saw her in Zombieland with.
Oh yeah,
Have you seen that one?
I haven't, but my friend told me. Yeah,
she was okay in that. She was.
She was also with the other Social Network guy.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, I never even thought of that. Yeah, it was the other Social Network. Now she's been with the two Social Network
Yeah.
guys. That's
Yeah, She
weird.
got them both.
Oh dear, that's really weird. What? Oh my god, that's really weird. Anyhow, so yeah, they do end up, I think, getting together pretty quickly. But that to me
She
seemed.
threw herself at him, literally. Don't you think so?
Well, he did the weird kind of thing on the roof, didn't he? It just came from nowhere. Like, he seems really awkward and shy around her. He doesn't give any reason why she would like him. And there doesn't seem to be any chemistry. And then suddenly, before we know it, they're kind of together.
Yeah, that
And-
one I don't get to.
Yeah, like why they ended up together, why she's checking him out. And, he is.
But speaking of this, right? She already has a boyfriend, Flash, the same boyfriend that Mary Jane had.
Oh, yeah, in the Maguire.
Is the Flash that we know, Flash Gordon?
Well, and I googled it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Is he?
He's not. He's
Oh,
not. It's some guy called
namesake.
Flash Thompson.
Oh, okay.
And he's in the original comics. He's like a school bully. And
Why Flash then?
I don't know. Oh yeah, but apparently because he's an
introduce.
American football player, and because he was so fast on the field, he got that nickname, and everyone always called him the Flash or Flash. But his name's Flash Thompson. He was some bully,
Right.
but apparently he hated Parker, but then he loved Spider-Man. So
Oh yeah, I remember. It is not that obvious on in the first one, the one with Tobey Maguire, is not that obvious. But then the second one, he was wearing the Spider-Man T-shirt, right?
Yeah, that's right. so you get the intro, right, of Spider-Man, and they start replaying a lot of stuff. So instead of this story, the typical story of Spider-Man and his Uncle Ben and how Uncle Ben died, it goes back even further and starts creating stories about his parents and how they got missing and how he ended up with his uncle in the
Do you
first
think
place.
the writer took part in this?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's a comic.
He has quite a big role in this one, though. Like
Who did?
the writer of Spider-Man, what's his name? The creator?
What, you mean Stan Lee?
Yeah, Stan Lee.
No, he wasn't involved in the
In the writing, no.
screenplay and writing. No, he's actually not
You checked?
involved. Yeah,
You
yeah,
sure?
he's not involved in any of the films.
But this time, he has a bigger role, and it's so funny.
He has a bigger cameo, which is quite amusing. But this one, what's the name of the director? It's Mark Webb, is it? I think it's Mark Webb. He's the guy who directed 500 Nights or Days of Summer. What?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, okay, whatever. He's not in this, so enough of that.
Okay.
And so this guy specializes in weird kind of romances and emotions and dramas and stuff. So Mark Webb, director, he's I think he found fame with what's it called? Is it 500 nights of
Days of Summer?
500 Days of Summer, which was some for me an overrated romance movie.
Why did you say that?
Well, it was. It wasn't. People were going on about it, and when I saw it, it was like, okay. And don't get me wrong, I watch everything, and I have a fair few romantic movies in my collection. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. You should check it out sometime.
Okay.
and so he directed this, and so I thought, knowing that, I was expecting the build-up between Spider-Man and Gwen's character to be a bit more realistic. That's not to say there wasn't a lot of emotion. There was, right?
Yeah. This one to me was a little bit different. I mean, not only the relationship with Gwen, but also Spider-Man's relationship with his auntie
Uncle,
and uncle. Yeah, this time I mean, for the first one, you just couldn't feel for them that much. But in this one, it was developed so well, since you see how, the relationship, developed since he was, from young to now. And then there was actually a real story, like, how his uncle got shot. There was, a lot of explaining there. Like, it actually shows them quarreling and then him running out and uncle chasing after him and getting shot. No, the one made me really emotional. And for the first time, I teared in the cinema. Yeah, I mean, the first one didn't have that kind of effect, but the first one was pretty abrupt. Like, I remember the first one was Tobey Maguire, letting some robber or something.
Yeah, so he was at the wrestling match and he lets the robber escape.
And then next thing you know, you hear this big bang.
Yeah,
and then his uncle is dead.
I guess. I mean, I liked it. It was very similar, but again, a different kind of viewpoint. So he again, the beginning is unavoidable. There's obviously lots of similarities because it's a weird version of the same story. But
I think this time Mark Webb tried to make it really, really different.
Maybe
you can feel it.
Maybe tried too hard. I don't know.
Even the way the spitting web thing.
Yeah, he goes back to the comics. He has the device on his wrist to shoot the webs. Out of instead of.
So the comics. This was the original.
That was
story.
An original feature of the comics. Yeah. So he would always run out of web and it would jam and all kinds of rubbish.
I don't like
happen.
it. I prefer the previous one. It was more natural.
Well, I think that's what Raimi thought, the previous director. He thought it was more kind of...
Yeah, you really become a spider, right?
Yeah,
really,
a human spider.
Used with, the spider. But this one is just, And then that part wasn't really explained that much. He just how he discovered that he has all these abilities. And then how he, was inspired to make the web thing, the technology and everything. I don't know. It's just not natural. It's just nice seeing Tobey Maguire discovering his spider side and then him jumping from building to building.
So you felt that Tobey Maguire becoming the superhero, the progression was better. And this
so much better.
This you didn't feel as much why he decided to be a superhero.
Yeah, he just was skateboarding, right? It was such a an MTV scene, and I always see this on MTV Asia, people skateboarding, and it was exactly like that.
Well, actually, when you put it like that, that's quite funny. Yeah, he suddenly thought I'd skateboard for a while.
Yeah, and then there was nice music, nice background, and okay, all right, I can probably, put these new skills to good use
and be a superhero.
Yeah, so weird. Do you get that when you skateboard?
Well, sometimes you feel like a superhero skateboarding. But so we are then introduced to a convoluted story involving what's his name? Can't remember what his name.
The lizard.
Yeah, the lizard guy.
Yeah,
what's
I
his
only know
name?
him as a lizard.
Connors,
Yeah.
Dr. Connors.
Yeah.
So Dr. Connors is the one-armed man who has some shady connection with Parker's parents.
Oh, speaking of that, I'm sorry, can I digress?
Okay.
I like the special effects this time, as him, becoming the lizard. That part, the transforming the lizard part, was really good.
Okay. Well, let's come back to that. So let's say he meets Connors because he's trying to investigate what happened to his parents, and he knows his father worked with Connors. And Connors is trying to create all kinds of weird stuff using animal genetics to get his arm back, right?
Yeah.
And he eventually basically turns into a lizard and then I don't know. Then I felt there was too many similarities then with the old
the
Spider-Man.
first one, right? And the villain in the first one, the
Goblin,
the
Green
goblin guy.
yeah.
Yeah, and the inner voice.
Yeah, so the way...
And he was a nice guy.
Yeah, it was too similar. Even comparing a little bit to the second one as well with that Dr. Octopus guy. So he was a nice scientist before. Well, we don't know if he was 100% nice because we don't know what the history was. But
he didn't seem too sad.
He didn't
after his wife died, right?
Which guy?
The Dr. Octopus. He was just, she's dead? Okay, all right.
It was kind of a nuclear fusion explosion, sun explosion thing going on in front of him. He was probably pretty sad. But
but after that, when he came back to the house, remember the part when he came back to the house? He just looked around, she's gone now. All right, what's my next move?
Who, Dr. Octavius?
Yeah.
He never goes back to he ends up in some weird shack on the water, yeah.
Really? I thought that was his lab.
No. He just goes to an abandoned shack, kind of by whatever river or stream that is. Maybe it's a River Hudson or something. With this guy, we don't really know. He seems quite friendly initially, and Parker has discovered some old notes from his dad, right, which helps the doc to finish his work, and he starts experimenting on himself, but he's kind of forced to do so. Right?
No, he experiments on himself because of the experiment with the rat, right?
Yeah, it was a success.
The rat.
But
it wasn't exactly a success. They didn't see through it.
Oh yeah, well they didn't follow it through.
Yeah.
But the initial part seemed to be a success. So this rat with one arm regrew its arm, right? So he tested it on himself because he's kind of being forced to do so, and because otherwise they're going to pull funding. And he regrows his arm, and then very quickly he turns into a big lizard, and he becomes evil, and you start getting internal monologues.
No. He wasn't immediately evil. He was like half.
No, he was pretty evil because he starts throwing everything off the bridge.
He wanted to kill... It was the same story. He wanted to kill the people who wants to pull out of his project, who wants to take away his funding.
Yeah, you're right. It's just like the first one, yeah. So where the Green Goblin throws some grenade and kills all of those people who pull the funding, this guy, the lizard, goes after this guy who's been trying to force him. And anyhow, so he's on the bridge and he's throwing everyone off, and then is that the first time Spider-Man comes and tries to stop him? And
yes.
Yeah, and then
this is where they first met.
Oh, so romantic. But then the fight is also very similar to that fight in the first Spider-Man.
No, this Spider-Man is less flexible. Do you realize it? And he gets injured more easily.
Yeah, he's
less invincible.
He's always covered in bruises. Yeah. But it's similar, don't you think? Like it's on a bridge, and he's that one scene, he's holding like a taxi and trying to save it. Whereas in the first film, he was like holding a bus or something full of school children. Do you remember that scene? It looked really similar to me.
Yeah.
So he manages to save people, and and then there's some interactions with Gwen and her father. I thought the father was really cool.
Well, I like it. I like how they developed the whole thing. Like, at first his father didn't like him, and then after discovering that he's Spider-Man and things changed, and he actually helped him, and then he sacrificed himself.
Maybe we should talk about that. So yes, Peter Parker's identity he has his mask off quite a few times.
Yeah, this one, oh my gosh, so useless.
So he has his mask off at one point because and there's no news guy. So the Daily Bugle isn't in it, and Jameson, the news reporter, is in it, and it feels like Jameson's been replaced by this cop. So Gwen's dad, the chief. And instead of the newspaper guy kind of persecuting him and saying he's a vigilante and a villain, we've got the news reporter guy doing it. We've got this police guy, doing it instead.
And that's his love interest father.
Yeah, love interest father, which makes it extra complicated. And then, there's a scene where they finally got Spider-Man. He takes his mask off, and for some reason no one else is around to see. Only he can see that, Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And it's like, okay... And then
actually, we realized the first one, right, with Tobey Maguire, his mask was also taken off a few times. There was one scene where he was trying to save Mary Jane from some bad guys. The one with the famous upside down kiss.
All right, okay.
Before that, he was trying to save her too. Like he was beating up some bad guys, and they did pull off his mask too. But he managed to run away before they.
I mean, in the second one, there's a big reveal where he has his mask taken off, and loads of New Yorkers save him and help him on the train and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
that was pretty good.
but I don't know. I don't know. In this, it seemed to be happening so often, and he was just such a bit of a rubbish superhero for that.
I know he's so vulnerable, right? Like
Yeah.
just but it feels closer. Like you feel like you can relate to him better than the other one, because the other one, like I said earlier, he was more invincible, like a superhero, like a Superman kind of role. But then for this one, he feels more like, you know, a real person, and yeah, he's. I mean, and even this one, I like the scene where, you know, the citizens, they really saved him with the cranes. I like the synchronization where all of them come together, and so that I think he was running out of web, is it?
It was just he was injured. He'd been
energy or
shot.
something like
Yeah, he'd been shot.
Yeah,
So
I like the part
Yeah.
where everyone helped him. Because in the first one, in Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, the first movie, you know, all the civilians were just really, they're just really helpless all the time. So this time it's really cool, like seeing everyone helping him.
Okay.
Do you think so? Or you're just being typical guy and just prefer heroes to be like
I don't know. I
heroes?
mean, I think I have an image in my mind of what Spider-Man is supposed to be about, what his origin story was, and you know, all of these features. And I didn't get to see a lot of that in this, but I did see a lot of it in the Tobey Maguire one. So I can't help it. I mean, you mentioned before that for you, because you're not so familiar with Spider-Man,
Yeah.
you were then able to appreciate it just as a standalone film more. Whereas me, because I'm so familiar, well, not that familiar, but I'm familiar enough with the previous to be semi-disappointed with this. The origin story wasn't how I'd imagined it to be. Then there was no Jameson, the news reporter guy. And it's just elements like that. It just seemed strange, and I didn't like how he just quickly fell in love with each other for no reason. And
But I do like this love interest more, Gwen, more than Mary Jane. I don't know. I just feel like, you know, she's more. There's this part where where she tried to save the city. You know, she sort of sacrificed herself, walked into the lab.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this
Try
is
to
the
get
finale, the big
Yeah,
finale.
I like her in that way. Very, you know, left self-centered. Because Mary Jane gives me the feeling like, you know, she's pretty. She's like, you know, just a pretty girl waiting to be saved. Always the damsel in distress.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and then and I don't know why she's always with the great guys in the movie, and this Gwen is like, just really independent.
Gwen was cool,
I can
actually.
relate to her. Not that I can relate to her, but I think women in this era can relate to her better.
So you're saying this is a Spider-Man film for women?
Yeah, I believe so, because of the emotions. I mean, it was more emotional. It was more. I mean, feelings and relationships were more obvious here. And I think those were more important to this director. While the other one, he was just dying to show people how great Spider-Man is.
Yeah, but that shows his passion for Spider-Man. It's
Yeah.
something he grew up with and loved, and he wanted to share it with everyone and to be able to do it quite
But
well.
since that has been, done, so
So
maybe
now
this
it's time
one,
to make it depressed.
No.
That's what it is.
Make
it's
it
like,
different, like more like a romantic movie.
Yeah, more
but
like
then
Twilight.
Just no.
Twilight Spider-Man.
No.
I don't know. It just seems the trend. Like, it's like popular to
You
make
don't like
films.
love stories.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Like, what I'm saying is like it's a popular trend to make films dark and depressing. So you look at the
It wasn't depressing. It was happy to the happy moments.
yeah, there were maybe a couple of happy moments. I like the happy moment is when Gwen's dad
Finally accepted
No,
him,
when
right?
Spider-Man says, "Look, you got to go and stop this scientist. He's turned into a big green lizard. He's killing everyone." And then he's like, "Listen, I'm not the mayor of Tokyo."
Oh yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that part was funny.
That was really funny. Maybe you should go and inform the good people of Tokyo. That was cool. See, there weren't that many cool. I don't know. It was. I felt it was like a lot of films now where they try to make it really dark and gritty, and I think that's going to make it more realistic and more enjoyable. So you've got like how James Bond was started again with Casino Royale and Daniel Craig, which I think was way inferior to so many previous Bond films, and I just thought I don't like Craig as Bond. And then you've got Batman Begins, also go for the dark and
speaking
gritty.
of Batman Begins, you see my T-shirt?
What's that?
I wore this for today's podcast.
What is that?
Batman Batman t-shirt.
What's that got to do with Spider-Man?
Yeah, just need to be in a superhero mood.
Okay.
Yeah, and also getting ready for Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
All right, okay, digressing again.
All right.
Oh, speaking of this, right? I prefer the stunts in the previous Spider-Man movies compared to this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way. I mean, in Tobey Maguire, like he swings and everything. It feels like it feels like he's more flexible. And then he's more natural. So when he swings,
I don't know if you mean what I think you mean. It's like how in the Maguire ones, it almost feels like he's flying. It's the
he's
freedom.
flying, and then you see, okay, there's one scene. I'm actually now looking at the Wikipedia page of Spider-Man, and if you look at him, the way he crawls.
Okay.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah,
the
it's
one
like
with
the
his
comic.
legs, spread, and and the way he did it, it was so flexible, like like he's doing gymnastics and stuff. And the in this one, the stunts weren't that good. It seems like he's always struggling every time he's swinging
Eduardo
from
wasn't as good at the stunts.
Yeah, he's probably not used to swinging around.
It's because he's so skinny. He hasn't got any muscle. Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's meant to be like that. But yeah, no, I love that about the originals because that made you want to be Spider-Man. Him swinging through the city is bright.
Looks so easy.
Yeah, it's just so fun. It's bright and sunny, and he's just having fun. Whereas this guy is
Stressed out.
Yeah, he's stressed half the time. He's like trying to swing, and he's walking sideways on the side of a bus and things. And yeah, I guess maybe it's just all leading to what he's going to become in the next few films. It just it doesn't. You don't get that sense of wonder and freedom and amazement. When you see Spider-Man in Tobey Maguire's movies, he's just not as amazing in this film, The Amazing Spider-Man. And he does kind of manage to take down the lizard guy with a lot of difficulty. But actually, no, it's Gwen who takes down the lizard guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she releases the anti-toxin thing and it neutralizes the lizard.
She didn't release it. Spider-Man released
yeah,
it.
no, you're right.
But then she was the one who risked her life.
You're right. He changes the canister and stuff.
Even after his warnings, she still went ahead with it. And then, there was this part was pretty scary. Like for a while, I thought it was like I was in a horror movie.
Which part?
Yeah, the part where she was hiding from the lizard. But good thing, he didn't do anything to her. I think he still remembered, right, that she's the student and she's innocent.
I think he probably thought, there's, she wouldn't be able to do anything to stop him and just left her or something.
Oh yeah, the part was a little confusing, right?
A lot of it was confusing. Like even why the lizard guy was doing half the stuff he was doing.
Oh, he explained, right? He said because he wants all humans to be really strong.
Well, he went from wanting to save humans and cure disease to then wanting to create superhuman.
Greed.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Again, it's hinted that it's the evil power of the whatever he's injected into himself.
Yeah.
So
the lizards. So lizards are all like wicked.
Okay, I don't know about that.
Evil.
All right. Well, I don't know if they all are.
So spiders are not.
Well, I don't like
Sure,
spiders.
we should keep spiders as pets instead.
No, I don't like spiders.
Not reptiles.
I don't want to keep either as pets, to be honest. I don't think they make ideal pets. The best pet is probably a Tamagotchi or something.
Oh, you're still in Tokyo.
Yeah, Tokyo mode.
All right.
So it ends, and what happens at the end? Oh yeah,
he helped. He saved the bad guys. Saved Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, in a weird twist. After he's reverted back to human form.
Yeah, he didn't exactly revert back. Remember?
Did he?
The last part, he still had this inner voice, like at the. Remember the part after the credits?
Okay. Oh yeah, and there is another post-credit scene. No, there was someone there, wasn't there?
No, it was himself talking to himself. He was like, "Who's there?" Something like that.
I thought there was someone there.
There was his inner voice.
I thought it was someone really there. So okay, so there is a scene after the credits where it shows the lizard guy Rhys Ifans' character in a prison cell, and someone's there talking to him and asking how much Parker knows about his dad or something like that, and we don't get to see who it is. I thought there was someone really there, but you think it was in his mind, is it?
Because in the movie itself, he kept talking to himself, right?
Yeah, but in lizard form, or while he was under the influence of the drug. Was he still under the influence? I don't know.
Sure.
I mean, I thought there was someone there. But
But it's
either
really
way,
interesting. All Marvel movies have this thing like after credits and then this
yeah. But the Avengers
unresolved.
movies make you interested. Did this make you interested? This movie, it was
Confused.
like it was like what, who, what, and I don't really care. And I don't know. I mean, I came out thinking it was a decent movie. It was good to see Spider-Man, but then when I slept on it and I thought about it the next day, it just started to go further and further down in my kind of impression. And now we both just revisited the original two to
I prefer this one.
You prefer this
I
one?
mean, of course, if you're talking about, superhero movie, the first one would be better, the one with Tobey Maguire. But in terms of like a love romantic movie, yeah, this one's a much better bet.
Okay, well, there you go, people. If you want to watch a superhero movie, which I imagine some of you might, if you want to see a Spider-Man film, then go and watch Tobey Maguire's.
Don't deter people, it's a good movie.
And if you want to watch a romance, which happens to involve a guy who occasionally wears a Spider-Man costume, then go and check out The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that about right?
Yeah.
So forget the film for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Just on Spider-Man, who was a better Spider-Man, Maguire or Eduardo?
Even though it was refreshing to see Eduardo, but I still think Tobey Maguire makes a better Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting you to say that. You've caught me off guard now.
I mean, I told you, right? I like the entire film. Like, as a standalone film, it's really nice. It's a nice romantic movie. But then, even though watching Eduardo was really refreshing, but then I still prefer Tobey Maguire. I particularly grew up with him as Spider-Man. I'm more used to seeing him as Spider-Man, and then he's more convincing as a superhero. And like you say, he's really like I think he's a bigger loser in real life than
in real life.
And no, in real life as Peter Parker than Eduardo as Peter Parker.
Okay.
And then you can see that he's really confident when he's Spider-Man, and I like that difference.
Okay.
But then Eduardo, you don't really see it. He's like Peter Parker and Spider-Man seems to be. You can tell they're like the
that's
same
really
person.
interesting. So it's the same persona regardless of whether.
Yeah, it's hard to jump in and out with him. But then with Tobey Maguire, you can really feel it. Like, oh, so sad. Such a sad life. And then when he's a Spider-Man, like, wow, like you're amazing Spider-Man. You're lifesaver. You can really feel that you can depend on him. When he's saving people, you can really. I sit there seeing him. I'm not afraid for him. I know he can do it. But then for Eduardo, I'll be like, oh my gosh, is he gonna make it? Is he gonna make it? I have that feeling. So
funny.
as a Spider-Man, I still prefer the original Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
How about you?
I didn't think I was gonna like Eduardo. I like how we both call him Eduardo. What's his real name?
Garfield or something.
Oh yeah, Garfunkel.
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Simon Garfunkel. Yeah. So I wasn't expecting to like him, but I actually, because you're right. There was a lot of emotion in it, and he kind of did eventually become more kind of endearing as a character. But I don't know. At the end of the day, he didn't deliver as a superhero. He wasn't doing the moves. He just. Yeah, like you said, there was that whole weird teen skateboarding sequence and stuff like that. But that was him as Parker. But then even as a superhero, like when he was doing his web slinging, he just didn't feel real. Like I didn't want to be him. I didn't want to.
You feel sad for him.
Yeah, it's weird. Like you just think he's a bit of a loser. Whereas in the previous Spider-Man film, it just feels it's like amazing to watch. You really want to be Spider-Man. It's like the acrobatics, the freedom, it's just real kind of entertainment. And for that reason, like Spider-Man 2, I think for me will always be one of the best superhero films ever. It was just spot on. Even though the first film faltered a bit, it wasn't a bit boring at times. The Spider-Man 2 was great. I think even this film it was a bit draggy in a few places.
Yeah. And I find Eduardo too arrogant as Spider-Man. I know Spider-Man's supposed to be arrogant,
bit cocky,
but then he's way too cocky. Like so many scenes, just look at the trailer, so many scenes, like
even though he's getting beaten up and stuff, he's like really cocky.
Really cocky. Like, oh, do you really think I'm a policeman? He's so cocky.
Yeah.
And then, but then, even though Tobey Maguire was, just as arrogant. But then, you still see the soft side of him, especially when his loved ones are captured by the evil guys. You can still see the soft side. The arrogance go away for a while, but this guy is just like cocky all the way, even though he's getting, beat up by people, like by the evil people.
The only time it seemed to change was when Gwen's dad passed away.
Yeah.
That was quite touching, and that was
really
good.
sad.
Yeah, that was good. So that's some interesting points. Okay.
Thanks for having me, and I'm off to write my BB cream review.
BB cream, what's that?
It's an all-in-one foundation. You wouldn't get it. Never mind.
Yeah. But I'm sure the new Spider-Man would, so you should let him know, and maybe they'll make a film about it as well. They could feature it in the next Spider-Man movie. So that's the end of our take on Spider-Man. Hope it hasn't been too confusing. So at the end of the day, I think Juliana, you liked it, and I didn't like it so much. So. I guess check it out and see what you think. So remember to like our Facebook page and check out our website www.maximumextreme.net and subscribe to us, and we'll catch you next time.
All right, liking you now.
Yay! And maybe if you're not too busy, Juliana, you'll join us again sometime. It's been a pleasure having you here with us today.
On a chick flick, please.
A chick flick? Well, it sounds like Spider-Man was a chick flick. Wasn't it?
All right, no more debating on this. Goodbye.
All right, bye.